All right, hey guys, and welcome back. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so a little bit more of personal video. I've often been just focusing on playing my games, going about my day. I have some single player games, I have some co-op games, and most of the time I'm just going about my day, focusing on my family, my son, my work, stuff like that. Things outside of YouTube, basically. And I'm not really a person of social media, and to be honest, I have left social media for over 5 years now, and it has absolutely changed my life. It has given me a better perspective on things, filtered out all of the fluff and the nonsense and the shorts and the TikToks and all of that bullshit. Completely removed that completely, and it's been great. Just being able to catch up with the important news, the neighbors, the family members, the people around me. Get to focus on the skills that I want to get to watch the shows that I like. And none of the time is what do you call this dampened by short attention span that would be a result of spending too much time on social media. Because social media is mostly about instant gratification. It's about short attention spans. It's about just giving you a lot of fluff in your day, all these memes and whatnot that you want to, listen to and think about. And some of them are great for references, for, just conversation value, but most of them are just a waste of your time, quite frankly. And I think it also distracts you from reading a book or reading an article or, watching a documentary or just learning about the world. Like, not many people spend time on Discovery or National Geographic as they used to. I used to spend too much time on those channels as a kid, and I still do when I get back home sometimes. The best thing that I want to see is just flip to a nature channel, watch something about some part of the world that, I'll probably never get a chance to travel to, and just learn about how things work there and the environment, the animals, the creatures, even things like how it's made is just so cool because there's so much things to learn from, and the concepts that and the designs that go behind certain things and the way they're built really makes you sometimes take a step back and think about the way things are designed around you. And sometimes it encourages me to think like, hey, maybe I want to go and fix something. Maybe I want to go and repair this in my house. And things like that that you just generally want to do to improve your life around you. That has what has really happened to me once I left social media. But on top of that, it really gave me a different perspective on films. I used to be a very mainstream audience for a lot of films. Yes, I was critical from the get-go, but I rarely watched indie films, and I would say that that has changed a little bit more. I wouldn't say that I never watched indie films as a kid. I did watch a bunch of them, but it's more than often all about the big blockbuster, the main, film of the year, the summer blockbuster, those sorts of stuff that used to come out. And yes, we all love Hollywood, but there are also other cinemas that I used to watch films from. And it really does sort of gives me a different perspective and, not just focus too much on how Hollywood does it, but I get to see how Hollywood does it compared to the rest of the world. And I like that comparison because I can make it because I do watch films from different industries, and that's pretty cool. Overall, I think that's great. But all of that has sort of declined over time because Hollywood has not been doing very well, and Hollywood used to be the benchmark of films. They used to be like, this is how the best industry does it, and this is how everyone else does it. And you get to compare, and sometimes it's funny when you compare because you get all these weird, nuances that no one else is going to understand. And it makes other films look like a joke because that's how good Hollywood was. They had top-notch CGI, top-notch actors, top-notch, camera work, camera crew, the set design, all of these things were really paid so much attention to detail, and that really, I guess, is what makes Hollywood the best, right? But that has declined over the years, and especially after COVID, I think, it becomes a very easy thing to blame to say that COVID has ruined films, when it's not just COVID, but it's more so the perfect storm of woke agenda, political agenda, the declining American society, the socioeconomics failing, the economics failing, war across the world, Russia, global warming, a war against, social geopolitics, in fact, and even a war against culture. And all of these things coming together formed a perfect storm of absolutely a horrible time for movies. But not entirely horrible time to be alive because there are still great games being published. And so I've switched most of my attention to video games and also older films. There are so many good movies that predate this era that is just so much better, and the recent ones have just not been good enough. So let's see how films just look like from a glance, right? Um, this is what IMDb recommends to watch. Now, I'm sure this is somewhat sort of changed or altered to suit my general watch, like genres and whatnot. So they may be showing a little bit more on the action, I don't know, some anime or whatever. They'll throw in some weird stuff just to make you interested, but that's not entirely too important. I can just go to most popular and also see that. So looking at the most popular films, we have Oppenheimer, which I'm very, very looking forward to and very excited for as well. And I have heard good things about it. I just want to find a good weekend to get to watch this film because I've been so super busy and occupied. I also unfortunately watched Mission Impossible and I heard it was really, really good. But to be honest, I was actually catching up by rewatching all of the Mission Impossibles because it's been a while since the last one came out, and I thought I'd get that done. And yeah, I didn't really have the time to go and watch the latest one, but I will probably try to catch it on Blu-ray or something like that. Maybe Google Movies, rent it. I don't know, but I'll definitely watch it. I got a TV that's good enough to watch these kinds of movies. Yes, I know you can say, oh, cinema still has better audio. I don't doubt you can meet it. Well, I kind of do have a home theater system, so it's not as bad as you would think. Yes, it's not cinema, but I think I have the leisure to pause the film whenever I want. Get a drink, get some snacks, and just continue as I wish. Watch it at my own pace, rewatch certain moments that are cool, and that's kind of fun in my own way. So yeah, I'll be doing that at home. I heard Barbie was some kind of mix between woke and satire, and it got so confused that it actually turned out to be good. And that's hilarious hearing that. So I will be adding it to my watch list just to take a shit on it because there's no real reason I would want to enjoy watching Barbie, right? You're just watching Barbie because you want to make fun of it. Because look at it, it's making fun of itself. As for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, I actually watched this film and I did want to make a review about it, but I just did not enjoy this movie. And I had my gripes about it because of how different it is from the first Guardians of the Galaxy and how much things have changed. Just looking at this poster itself, you can tell that things are no longer the same in many, many ways. Like, what is happening here? Why is Drax all of a sudden having his body covered up? Why does Nebula look just weird? Um, I don't know what's the deal with Peter Quill's body here. In the first one, he looks super jacked. In this one, he looks like even for, I don't know, some serious cardio. There's no context given to why they look so different from the first one. Mantis is also weird, I think. Groot looks weird. I don't know. The only one who looks normal here is Rocket, because there's no other way to do Rocket, and the film is mostly about Rocket. This is a Rockets movie, and all the other Guardians just don't play a role big enough. Because as you can see, if I flip through the photos, what do you see? I don't even have to give context, right? It's Rockets movie. I don't even have to give context. I can just flip through this, and you'll see that it's like 20% Rocket story, and the rest of them is like some random stuff that they threw in there. Like Star-Lord is not doing anything cool. Neither is Nebula, neither is Gamora, neither is Drax. Neither, I mean, Groot has his moments, but again, it's nothing special. There used to be that balance that they struck with the first Guardians that actually made it cool because James Gunn basically introduced us to a whole new set of characters that, you only have a comic about, no one really cares about them. Made them likable, made them interesting, made them unique, and they had a niche, right? They had performed a very specific sci-fi task that was lacking in Disney Marvel. And Disney Marvel in itself is a huge problem, right? I absolutely despised Endgame because of how different it was from Infinity War and how misaligned it was from the goals of Infinity War. it also changed from certain reveal posters and trailers because we knew they clearly changed the script. They changed the ideas. They wanted Endgame to try to be some kind of a time travel film, but it in itself was just a mess, right? The whole point of Vision, like they're showing Shuri as such a genius, she wasn't able to help Vision in Infinity War. She didn't know what she was doing, honestly, and Vision just died still anyway. And there are a lot of things in Endgame that just didn't link up and make sense. But Guardian still did its own thing and it was successful. But here, again, it's in this confusion where they're trying to strike a balance between the story that is Rocket's story, that is the High Evolutionary story, and they don't know what to do with the rest of these characters that they're all just doing their own weird things. There's no connection, there's no character progression. Um, there's no real like yes, they're all emotional bags, right? They're all just being emotional. They all want to cure, help Rocket. They all care for Rocket. They all have some weird purpose. And I think the worst character in this by far is Adam Warlock because Adam Warlock in the comics is like a near demigod-like character. What the fuck is this? Or was this? Because I watched this shit and I don't know what on earth this orange whatever this is supposed to be. Now, don't get me wrong. Um, I am okay with Will Poulter as an actor. I don't think he's a great actor or anything, but I have enjoyed him playing a lot of unique roles in movies and whatnot. But this was just a shit show. What, like, just because they threw in an emotional story for Rocket, it doesn't make the entire movie good. The entire plot of the film was already decided at the beginning, right? It's very straightforward. They gotta go and find the guy who did this special thingy to Rocket's heart to save Rocket because Rocket was actually attacked by Adam Warlock and that sort of messed things up. But the journey they take to get there is the important part. And they do some weird stuff. There's like weird goo and all these things. There's some tardigrade like people with suits and whatnot fighting them. And the fights are not even cool. It's just a mess. And why are these two girls like helping Drax the Destroyer walk? Are you guys kidding me? Like logically in the comics they wouldn't be able to even lift up Drax the Destroyer, but let alone help him. But fine, let's just say that they are the strongest women in the galaxy, right? You got one of the deadliest assassins, you got some weird girl that can just motivate him to walk. And then you got this cyborg thingy that's just turning weirder by the second. And that's really sad because Karen Gillan's an amazing actress, but I don't know what they did to her. High Evolutionary is actually a good villain, and I think that he is a standout among MCU villains like overall. He actually did a great job. He was definitely better than whatever the hell happened in Ant-Man 3 with um what's his name again? Um the Kang the Conqueror, right? Okay. Yeah, whatever happened with Kang, let's just not go there. Yes, I know the actor fucked up and whatnot, but that wasn't the worst thing. I think High Evolutionary actually served a good villain purpose. He had a clear objective. He did what he wanted to do. He believed he was right. And he tried to convince others that they were right. But clearly, the heroes, being heroes, realized that he was wrong and decided to fight him. And this very classic superhero and story, and I really liked that. Very straightforward. They kept it to what it should be and what it is, but it just wasn't interesting enough. There was a lot of gore involved, a lot of torture scenes, a lot of creepy shit that I think was interesting. I really liked the fact that they were daring enough to show these scenes to give weight and emotion to Rocket, but it overshadowed the rest of the Guardians of the Galaxy because they just did not have compelling stories compared to Rocket. Because a lot of their sub stories, like Rocket already had his mystery about him from the first film, right? In the second film, they went deeper into it. They focused a bit more onto Mantis's character, onto Star-Lord's character, showing the father, Star-Lord's dad, and how that could affect things, how Mantis' story is linked with them, and whatnot. They went into that route. As for Gamora and Nebula, their story is pretty much told in what do you call this? Avengers, right? They have a link to Thanos, so there's that story there. And as for Drax and Rocket, they don't really have their story, and neither does Groot. Yeah, because Groot's a tree or whatever. And Groot actually has a Baby Groot cartoon, so I think they thought that's fine. and Drax doesn't really have a story, but Rocket gets his. So I think the next story is probably going to be Drax's story, because Drax never really got to get his revenge on Thanos. That's kind of unfortunate. But it is what it is. Thor just slashed Thanos' head off in Endgame. Remember that? Thanos died by just, having his head slashed off. Don't count the snap at the end, because that was not the Thanos from the real world. The real world Thanos died in 5 seconds from having his head slashed off by Thor that said he should have gone for the head. That was what Endgame really was. And all the other stretch about that went on, that, pulling another Thanos from another dimension to do things all over again, that wasn't the Thanos that fought them initially. That wasn't the Thanos that earned all his Infinity Stones and actually went up against the Avengers. But for some reason, that Thanos was stronger in the fight. I don't know. It's so weird. The dynamics of the Thanos with who actually had all the stones being weaker than the Thanos that didn't. I don't know, guys. It's just some weird power balance going on there. But anyway, back to this mess here. Um, but overall, it was a very nice emotional story. But I don't know what was happening here. Look at them. It's just off. There's something weird about this compared to the first Guardians, and even this. What is this? What is this supposed to be? Like, who comes up with this design, right? And fine, we get it. You want to show some creepy designs, some weirdest design. You like slime, you like goo, you like blood, you like mess, you like all these disgusting things. And the center of it, you don't have a good story either. I can't really enjoy this, watching this. Like, just looking at it is disgusting, right? And if anyone says that no, that's just artistic and whatnot, I get that. I totally get you. I know what artistic is. Right? I work with artists. It's part of my job. If in case you guys really want to know, I work with game design and game development, and I work with art. And so I have spent a lot of my own time reading about art as well and learning about art. And I've also spent a lot of time with an uncle of mine who's unfortunately not around, who really enjoyed art, and that sort of intrigued my passion to study art and learn about art. And I can't draw for shit, to be honest. That is true. I enjoy art, I learn about art, but I can't draw for shit. But it's different in the sense where you learn what it's for, what the design is for, what the point of it is, and why it's unique. And, being a huge fan of Star Wars and sci-fi and set design and all of these, pop culture and stuff, there's just so much to knowing when something looks like shit and when something doesn't. Right? Like, it's like those people who are food critics. Not all of them can cook like gods, but hey, they know what good food tastes like, right? You know what good food tastes like. The person who's listening, you may not be a pro chef, but you know what good food tastes like, right? I'm sure I can cook better than most of you, but I'm not gonna say that you can't tell when my cooking tastes like shit. That would be a lie. And I think that's the same for films here, where we know the whole film is just looking like a hot mess. And at the core of it is just these five sane looking people who still don't know what they want. The story still doesn't know what it's looking for. And I don't know what the fuck this is. I really don't know. I'm just so upset about Adam Warlock overall that I think this movie was just a hot mess. So, yeah, I mean, there goes my review for the Guardians of the Galaxy, in case you guys were looking forward to that. Well, I don't think anyone was looking forward to it, but a lot of people did enjoy this movie, and I totally respect it. And I think I know why they enjoyed this film. Let me tell you why. They enjoyed this film because every other film that came out of Disney Marvel in the last 4 to 5 years have been absolute shit. So people who like Disney Marvel have no choice but to like this film because all the other films were just bad. And look at this. I rated the first Guardians of the Galaxy 6, and I think I should have voted higher. But why I voted it as 6 is because it is still far off from other movies that have just put in more effort and less CGI to actually make a better movie. They actually have more realistic action, they have compelling stories to tell, they have more, craftsmanship gone into the work. Like, look at this John Wick Chapter 4, I voted it as 7. Why? This movie, you know, I mean, okay, the story was absolutely pointless, right? There was no story to it. This is a circus, it is a show, and it's doing its job. Let me show you something that's more of a story. Let me go to something like, oh my God, all these hot trash. Let me go to something more like this. No, I don't want something more like this. Um, Let me see. Is there a topic? Dunkirk. Okay, Dunkirk was good, story-wise, right? No, not really story-wise. This is more also like, I don't know, an epic, a sort of documentary style. All right, you know what? Let me just pull up, think of something. Let's see. A bridge too far. Bio of me. No, let's not go there. Maybe Schindler's List. Schindler's List is the first thing that comes to my mind right now. That's a 10 out of 10 film. It's one of the greatest movies ever made. And that movie is a mile ahead of films like these. That's the reason why I can't vote these any higher, because we're judging for films like Schindler's List as well. That's just too good and too ahead of its time. The Dark Knight is so much better of a film, right? And then it has Batman Begins. It has Dark Knight Rises. Dark Knight Rises may be the worst of the three, but those movies are just better. So I can't give them all an 8 out of 10. One has to be better than the other, and so there's this gap. So don't get me wrong when I say that, you know, this is worse than the first one, and the first one is 6, because this one, for me, is like, I don't know, 3 at most. And I really, really think that this voting is merely affected by the fact that this was just better than all the recent MCU films. Because I don't think it's a good movie at all. And in case you guys are new to the channel, you guys are wondering, so what do you like? What kind of movies do you like? Like, what do you watch? Like, at all? Well, let me just say the only reason I haven't rated it 10 out of 10 for Breaking Bad is because I stopped at season 4. But up to season 4, it is really, really good. And I want to continue, but man, it's so long. I don't have the patience for it. Um, Peaky Blinders, same case. I just can't go that far. But let me show you something like my ratings. There we go. Slumdog Millionaire 10, Six Sense 10, Psycho 10, American Psycho 10. Wait, why is Schindler's List missing from this? Um, oh, because this is my watch list, right? I gotta go to my ratings. There we go. I have rebooked some of these films on my watch list because I want to rewatch them. Like that's how bad films are right now. I just want to rewatch a lot of shit because of just how bad things are. There we go. Empire Strikes Back. Take a 10. This movie is twice the film Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was. There is no doubt this was twice the film Guardians of the Galaxy 1 was. This is a reason Guardians of the Galaxy even exists. Because people know that films like Star Wars was appreciated back in the 80s. Films like these set the standard for films today. And the films today don't set the standards for films to come because they're just not good enough. Inception, 10 out of 10. Name me one movie that is close to this. I don't think a film has managed to even top this. This has been, what, 13 years? It's a good time to be alive to be able to watch Inception. Shawshank Redemption, 94. One of the best movies ever made. This is a movie, guys. This is what movies are. Like, if my kid asks me, Dad, what's the movie? I'll tell him to watch Shawshank Redemption. Tell him this is the feeling that after you watch a movie, you feel better about yourself, about life, you get a new perspective, you think about things. That's what Shawshank Redemption is. You get a redemption after watching that film. It's amazing. Return of the King, Dark Knight, Shutter Island, Steins Gate, Naruto, the entire series, Shippuden is great. It's awesome. Slumdog Millionaire, Fantasia. I absolutely love this. Back when Disney knew what they were doing. And that's 1940, by the way. That's World War, by the way. That was when they really knew what they were doing. Godfather. Code Geass. Snow White, Seven Dwarfs. The original one, 37. The original one, guys. Not 2023. 1937. And it's really important because this means that the filmmakers who aren't alive now, who made Snow White, knew what they were doing. History was right. How about that? Right? And yes, you can say that, oh, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is a racist cartoon in itself because the name Snow White means fair as snow. People are racist, guys. People look at color. People look at height. People look at size. People compare. People look at ethnicity. People look at the way you hear the way you sound. People think you look funny if you dress different. People think you look weird if you change your hair color. People judge people based on appearance. Get used to it. That's life. People used to make films based on that, based on the way people look at people and judge people, because that is natural human instinct. That is why you have things like Big Hero, because the hero is big. You have things like Superman, because he is a Superman. Batman, Spider-Man, because he is a man who's dressed up like a spider. He wears like a spider suit, he shoots webs, right? Could you imagine? Don't assume his insect anatomy. Just because he shoots webs doesn't mean he's a spider. Fuck you, right? Fuck you. Snow White was made because she was as white as snow. And trust me, even until today, when you see a girl as white as snow, you will look twice because they are rare. Because a lot of girls get suntans these days, but to be fair, um, there were girls who were so white and so fair, people were jealous of them. And this goes across all races. Even white people are jealous of white people, right? Even black people are jealous of people who are blacker than them or less black than them because they think that they hit the fair skin lottery. That's true. That's true. Indians come in all colors and they're all racist towards each other. There's really no comparison there. There's no question about it. Chinese people are racist, right? Indonesian people are racist. Russians are racist. Everyone's racist, guys. It's human instinct to just use basic physical comparisons to look and classify and differentiate. There's nothing wrong with it, right? It's only wrong when you take it to the extreme and you don't know the objective of your comparison. If you lose sight of what you're trying to fulfill with your comparison, it goes to extreme means and it tries to harm people. And that's when it becomes a problem, right? So innately, no one wants to use these comparisons to harm others, but some people just have different tastes. And it's true, it's unfortunate. I've been a victim of racism, right? I live in a country where there's so many races, and we face racist shit throughout our lives. It's common. I know what it's like to be, called out for the color of my skin, to hear people whisper things, shit about me, or my friends or whoever the fuck, right? But that's how you learn about life. That's how you learn the world is a dark place and you gotta get over it. And Snow White may have set a standard for people back then, thinking that we want everyone to be fair, although that wasn't exactly what Disney intended, because Snow White is a book that was already written before the film was even made. If you guys read that, perhaps you'll get a little bit more context as to what the writer intended. But yeah, that's genuinely it. Game of Thrones, Avatar, Ready Player One, Sixth Sense, Talabadi, this is an Indian film by the way, Future Diary, Schindler's List, Dragon Ball Z. You know what? Let's just make this a 10. Screw it. I've been harsh on this film. I have my gripes with it. I don't want to go through it now. I've been a bit harsh on it. X-Men, StarCraft 2. This story itself is just brilliant. Mr. Bean, right? You compare all of these. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is not an 8 out of 10. This is shit. This is this is staying under the shoes of these great films, right? So guys, I don't understand how films have really fallen to the point where we have to appreciate shit films and give it 8 out of 10 ratings just because there's no other good films to watch. Okay, let me just compare this to Wolf of Wall Street. 1.5 million IMDb votes. 8.2 out of 10. Are you telling me this is five times, sorry, what is this? Five, six, 7 times less. 7 times less votes, right? But let's just say that this is the rating, right? It's not accurate because once it reaches a million, it's probably going to be less. But look at this, less people even voted for it because less people went and watched it because people don't care about these films anymore. And that's sad because that's what films really have put themselves in. You know, they allow shit writers to take over the scripts, directors who don't know what they're doing to direct, people who just know how to work with CGI to make films, and that's it. You don't have a film, you have some kind of a, I don't know, whatever this is. It's just a lengthy shot animation that just doesn't know what it's doing. Are you telling me that Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is as good as Wolf of Wall Street? Get out of here. I don't want to hear it. The Bear was great. I gave it a 7. It's not the greatest thing out there. I gave it a 7. I should have probably given it a 6 because I should be harsher with these things. But I gave it a 7 because there weren't many good things at the time. And I regret that. And I think I should have changed it. And here I am. I'm changing it back to a 6. And I probably would calibrate my review ratings from time to time if I had it, all the time in the world. I don't. But when I come across it, sometimes I feel like maybe I was too harsh on this film, or maybe this film is actually great. But it's coming to a point where we're starting to rate films based on how the other films are doing. And I think if we do it based on that, all the films are going to be a 7 or 8, which is, as you can see, is the template of IMDb, right? How is Oppenheimer this almost the same? Okay, it's 8.6. It's a little bit higher, right? But The Bear and Oppenheimer is the same rating. Is this true? Is this true? The Bear was great, by the way. It's not a 7 though. It's 6 at best. Um, but are they the same? I don't know, guys. I'm so confused. It's just a bad time for films, and it really puts me off even wanting to make a video about these to rate the recent movies because it's just not encouraging. I was reading about Gorehound, by the way, but yeah, it's just not encouraging for me to work on these because it's kind of pointless for me to buy a ticket to go to the cinema to watch something that's an absolute waste of time. I just rather just wait for these films to be released on Blu-ray, to be rentals, and I'll just rent these for $3 and watch them or whatever it is, right, in your currency. But yeah, just rent it and watch it because after you watch it, all you have is regret. And I'm really excited for Dead Reckoning because after watching Mission Impossible 1 all the way to, was it 5 or 6? I really feel that Tom Cruise is one of the few people who knows what he's doing, and the way he takes charge of these films to make sure they go in the right direction is really important because we don't have action heroes like, I don't know, Keanu Reeves maybe qualifies, Tom Cruise. I don't know who else right now. I can't really think of one because The Rock has turned into some kind of weird, I don't know, comedy. Because he's just back in Fast 11, I think. Sorry, spoilers. Vin Diesel is just having fun with Fast 10. So he's not an action star. He's just CGI background, big explosion, guy standing there kind of star at this point. The Covenant was decent. It's a decent film. I probably should review this. I'll just add it to my watch list. I've already watched this, but probably should review it. I watched Rise of the Beast. I don't know why this movie was made. Two, maybe. Guys, the cartoon that I always talk about, the 19, what is it? 80, is it, it's 87, right? Uh, or was it 89? 87 or 89? Uh, Transformers movie 86. Okay, my bad. So yeah, the 1986 movie is better than this one. The fuck? How how are the originals better than the remakes? What are these people making remakes for? This is what Disney has caused. This is what happens when mega corporations buy over all the little cinema, like little filmmakers, and they make decisions to remake films because they don't have any creativity, they don't have any ideas, they don't have good script writers, they don't have any objective, they don't have any clear goals, they don't have any real positive agenda, right? They only have some weird woke negative agenda. They just want to spread the same bullshit. The anti-family views, which is what Putin said, I believe, in the recent Russian conference. I actually watched it because they were ruling out, I believe it was gay parental rights and gay marriages or something like that, which I don't know. I don't really care about it too much. The whole Russia decision thing. But what was important is that they pointed out that the West clearly has a view on anti-family policies. And that's weird because I didn't know the West was anti-family. But looking at their agenda, they might as well be because they clearly are having a very, very, very serious political and social battle against their cultural norms because they don't really have culture. They've been pushing the boundaries of culture for so long that they've probably broken it. And I think it's true. They've broken their own culture to a point they don't really know what they want anymore. And here in the East, where I'm from, where we are a little bit more religious, we're a little bit more concerned about these social norms. We question them, yes. Some are extremists, but most of us we just question them. I think we're in the borderline of being safe, or rather in the right path, because we know how important family is, which is what Vin Diesel says. Um, and that's funny because that's still one of the American movies, Family, but no one really follows it somehow. Um, and yeah, it's interesting. But if you guys want to know what's my stand on LGBT rights or whatever, I think people should be allowed to do whatever they want as adults. But I think marriage should still be a religious thing, and it should be a man and woman only thing. And I think the same should go for adopting children. I don't think that two dads or two moms should be able to adopt a child. It doesn't I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me. Um, yeah, but that's just my view. And if you think that um, I shouldn't have that view or it's wrong, you're fine to have your opinion. That's all I can say. Um, but yeah, this is bad. This is just a horrible state of things. Now let me go through a little bit more detail as to Extraction 2 was actually great. You know what? I need to review this. I actually watched this movie. I enjoyed it, by the way. The one-shot action scene was insane. I could actually tell that there were cuts between the takes because I saw the brief moments where there were cuts. And it's kind of unfortunate that I've demystified some of these movies for myself by studying movies and games and whatnot so much that I sort of know the magic that they have to work to get certain cuts in. But I also know that they do have a full one-shot take of certain moments and probably in the entire thing. And then they had to sort of do some patching work to make sure that it's as smooth as it went. Because I'm sure it was extremely tiring for the entire set and crew to redo those scenes to make sure the shot works. But they've done it. They're sort of showing films that they can do these sorts of things, and they should have done these sorts of things because John Wick also had a very good one shot with a top-down view of the warehouse fight scene, which was just gorgeous. It's just insane. It's just beautiful. It's eye candy. And yeah, I think as it should be. Um, I need to continue Jujutsu Kaisen to be honest. Berserk was great, by the way. If you guys are from the I don't know 80s, 90s, you guys would have loved Berserk. I think it's a 7 at most. I wouldn't give it an 8. I don't think it's better than Naruto or anything close to that. Death Note was also great, but it's sort of overhyped for me. I think it's a 7 at most. It's probably as good as Berserk. I don't think I can say that either of these are better than the other. And probably rightly so. Drive. All right, there was this one. This is actually decent. Let me know what. Let me just add to watch this and rewatch it. But there we go. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. I can like I know all these people, all these Disney fans, all these Marvel fans who make fun of DC films for being too dark. This is the darkest Disney movie I've seen. Like or I could barely see. Like I just got a chance to watch this, right? And what what was even happening in this movie? The CGI was just so bad that they just darkened the entire film to cover it. And it was still bad. CGI was still bad. Like just look at the positioning of her attire here, right? I'm sure there's some weird CGI work going onto it because it just did not fit on her body throughout the entire film. Um, and what the heck is wrong with these families because they all have mixed race parents and the children are not mixed race. It's weird. And if you don't get me right, let me show you this. This lady here is the queen, the princess mother, right? This is the king, if I'm not mistaken. Wait, no, this is the butler. Shit, I'm actually confused. I can't remember who the king was. Let me see. Youngest son of an eye surgeon. Okay, fine. Yeah, he's probably the butler. Let me see. King. Try to know another one. The queen. Um, yeah, where's the king? I remember seeing someone at the end with the queen. This guy, right? Oh, I see how it is. Right. So it's a queen and not a king. And their son, for some reason, um, their son, for some reason, is this guy who's clearly white. So she's not his mother. She got remarried into the family and made queen by the woke community. Like, I don't know how this thing happens in these worlds. It just doesn't make sense. Like, I get it, the film is not realistic, but this is just fourth wall breaking, not realistic. This is the fuck not realistic. What is happening here? And even the Little Mermaid is adopted by her father because this is what he looks like and this is what she looks like. So she's not his child. It's obvious. It's common sense, right? So she's an adopted child, and I think all of his children are adopted. Either that or he just went around fucking the seven seas because he got like what, six children or something, right? So he missed out one of the seas. He missed out one of the oceans. I don't know which one he missed out, but he definitely clapped six of them. Um, this was the only cool scene, by the way. This was a really cool scene. They had some interesting concept art going on here, right? If everything was just like a thought, like a touch brighter, like trust me, dude, I love Zack Snyder's films, and this was dark. Like I couldn't see shit dark. It was just bad. Like Zack Snyder's films, they're dark, but when you dim the lights, it's not so bad. This one is just, what the heck? What's happening? Um, yeah. Is this the boner? I don't know what's happening here. I can't remember. These are some of the songs. Look at the CGI on these turtles. Look at the CGI on these turtles. All right, let me tell you a trick to know when the artist actually puts in effort versus when the artist doesn't, right? I get it. It's very difficult to create multiple iterations of these turtles, but turtles shells don't look perfectly symmetrical like these, right? There's bound to be some variation. And if you watch this film, a lot of these characters are generically template. They are just put into the background or fit into the scene or whatever. And they don't match because one thing is they're all the same. The lighting is always off. The lighting is always off. Look at this. There's some weird pink hue below here. And they all have that weird pink hue, but some of them don't here. These are white. So what's causing the pink lighting? Like where is it coming from? When it's hitting some of them but not all of them. And you see the sand has that pink hue. So what is the source of this lighting? It's so weird. There's no thought put into this. Like you see, if you guys watch Finding Nemo, there's actual thought put into how the ocean looks like. And that's important. And by the way, I thought Melissa McCarthy was actually not bad. I thought she was okay. She did her part. She just had a shitty script. She had just an absolutely shitty script. They should have gone hard on the horror elements and just made it a more serious tone. And I think she would have rocked it. I think she could have done an even better job. But to be fair, she's not the greatest of actresses from what I've seen. But I thought she did a great job to what she was given. And that says a lot. And I also think that it's really sad for Haley Bailey. Is that her name? Haley Bailey. Um, yeah, this is another one of the daughters, right? Uh, some weird sailors moment. This kid, I was so worried for this kid having his neck next to this little thing. You don't do this on a ship, kid. Like, this design is already bad on a ship, but you getting your throat jabbed while the boat rocks or something, or knocks into a rock and then you just die there, like Final Destination style. I was so worried when this kid did this in this scene. I was like, the fuck is he doing? Like, someone on the set, can you get him out of there? That's a terrible idea. But that's when you know the characters are just not acting. They're just being stupid. Right? They're just not acting. Like, who in the right mind would put their head in this place? Whatever this is. So they're not. They're just not thinking. They don't know what they're doing, honestly. Halle Bailey. Okay. Yeah, I feel bad for her because I think she has potential. Her voice is amazing, but she's not the Little Mermaid. She doesn't deserve to be in the Little Mermaid. She shouldn't have been in this movie. She deserves to be in a lot of better films. A lot of films that are probably suited to her. A new movie, perhaps Disney. Just write your own fucking script. Have Halle Bailey act in it. I think it would have been awesome. I think she has a lot of potential. I think she's gorgeous. I think she has a great voice. Um, but this was a shit movie, and she's not the Little Mermaid, so she should not have been here. Her hair is not even close to being a mermaid. Um, and this guy needs to find who his parents really are. That's his real story. Uh, look at oh my God, CGI. Oh, I can't, guys. It's just so miserably bad. I remember watching a mermaid movie like back in the 90s or something that looked more realistic. What was that recent one? The Shape of Water even had better CGI than this. And then The Shape of Water is like it's a film people barely went to because it was weird. Oh, but this was bad. Yikes. Oh, man. I'm sorry, guys. It makes me so sad to know that this is the state of films. Did Disney ever stand a chance? Like, do they have any hope at all? But this is the reason I've just not been wanting to make reviews because it's so off-putting. There may be one good movie out of like 10, and I really want to make a review for it, and then I watch a shit movie and just spoils my mood. And Evil Dead Rise, this is another one that I watched. I can actually rate this. Not as good as the first one. The first one, the recent first one, was okay. This is probably a 3. It still had a lot of good moments, a lot of gore. It did its thing. Um, but it's not that great. Um, The Way of Water as well. I probably have to review this. But yeah, it's just this one good movie, but it puts off your puts me off and just don't want to do anything. Let me tell you, I'm sure you guys are old enough, but how many of you have watched the Tobey Maguire, Sam Raimi Spider-Man, written by David Koepp? Of course, Stan Lee helped with the writing. Steve Ditko did too, and I think Steve Ditko did the um, heavy lifting as well in this. But how many of you left this film feeling inspired, feeling like you want to be Spider-Man, feeling like let's say, right, you're not a white dude, right? I'm not a white dude. But after leaving this film, didn't you still feel that you wanted to be Spider-Man? Did you care that he was white for you to relate with him? Did you care that, oh, he's a white dude, I can't get behind this guy, oh, I hate him so much? No. You liked Spider-Man because he had a great personality. Yes, he is a white dude, he's Peter Parker, as was written, but that's not the hero, right? The hero is Peter Parker, who, yes, he's a white dude, but what made him stand out among all the other millions of white dudes is the fact that he is Spider-Man and he is special. And that, you know, those powers came to him by radioactive spider, not from his race. And that was important, right? So you don't have to change his race to make people get behind him or like him. They made another Spider-Man for that. They made Miles Morales, right? And they did that because they wanted to appeal to diversity. But even if they never made Miles Morales, people still like Peter Parker. And even now, people still like the OG Peter Parker. And I like the fact that they made Miles Morales a separate Spider-Man instead of replacing the original Spider-Man. I think they had a lot of thought put into it. And I think it was a wise decision to make because Miles actually has his own cool story, which I really like. And it makes me feel that Miles is really his own character and not just a black kid who's taking over a white kid's role. And I think that's really important. The difference is really, really important. But this movie was so fun, so amazing, left me so inspired. I don't even remember why I didn't rate this. The fuck? Why didn't I rate this? Can I give it a 10? It's a 9 actually, but I want to give it a 10. It's probably an 8, but who cares? I love it so much. But I know I rated Spider-Man too. You know what? Let me just adjust this to an 8 because I hated Mary Jane so much. Spider-Man 2. There we go. The god of films. Um, and I love this so much. I really want to give this higher, but I know there are just better films than this. And you know what? I have to probably drop this to 6 or 7 to be safe, to make it fair. But this movie, for me personally, it's a 10. It's always a 10. But compared to things like The Dark Knight and Schindler's List, it's gotta drop. It's just gotta fall because it's just not that great of a film overall. But this is so iconic that this is one of those movies that after you watch, you know it's not the greatest movie out there, but it leaves you feeling awesome, inspired. Story about this nerd kid who would not have got the girl, but got put into the situation where he struggled. He struggled. Nothing came easy for him. He's not a Mary Sue. He had to work hard. He had to learn to appreciate his powers. He even lost his powers because he didn't understand them. He hated them. He hated himself. He hated his life. He learned to overcome that. He learned to go from his shitty apartment to his shitty apartment still at the end of the story, but as a better person. Because this is a character development story, and Spider-Man is the character who is developed. And he's the character that drives the story forward, that drives the audience into believing in themselves and telling what it takes to be a hero and that it's not easy. And even the first movie teaches us the same sort of concept, where the Goblin tries to entice Spider-Man on the rooftop, saying, "You and I could actually rule this town, this city. Join me; it'll be so easy." But he doesn't give up. Even to the end, he doesn't give up. and he has to make the difficult decision of hiding the truth that Norman Osborn was the Goblin, and instead he removes his Goblin suit and sends him home, even if he'll be despised or get be caught by Harry, and even if he'll be hated by Harry for the rest of his life, Spider-Man will be hated. He took that risk because in that moment he was so focused on just fulfilling the promise he made in that last moment, not to Goblin, but to Norman Osborn, who Spider-Man believes would have come to his senses in that last second because he still was like a father figure to him. Unless, of course, he was still the Goblin at the last second and he wanted Peter to just hide the truth so that it fucks up Harry into becoming Hobgoblin. And that's the way I like to think it. I like to believe that the Goblin was the Goblin all the way to the very end, and he wanted Peter to hide the truth from Harry to allow Harry to build pent up anger and become the next Goblin. Just a theory, guys. A film theory. Don't quote me on that. Actually, you know what? Quote me on that. I would love to. But it's been so long since we had a movie that makes sense, that survives the test of time, that people want to watch again and again and again. Get you rent a CD like this, you want to watch it the whole month, right? You have the Blu-ray, you want to watch this every year, every Christmas, every summer, holiday, not a holiday, just a weekend. You had a bad day, who the fuck cares? Play Spider-Man, watch it, sit back and relax. Play Lord of the Rings, play the original Star Wars. Just we have to add the word original now to things because of all the remakes being just trash. And there are no other original films. That's the other thing, right? Or rather, there are, just not that many as there used to be. Not daring enough to. But let me tell you what is daring. Her dress was super daring. Sam Raimi, you knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing. You naughty, naughty man. But Kirsten Dunst loved it. She played a part. And she was shit, don't get me wrong. I absolutely hated this Mary Jane. The one in the comics is just like 100 times better. I know there's like a million iterations of Mary Jane by now, but generically in the comics she's better than this, whatever this was. But they told their own story. They had an objective. They had these insane moments that you can just sort of rebuild. And yeah, it was just so good. Look at this. Look at this scene. This is the state of Hollywood. This is the only scene that represents the state of Hollywood. All right, that's it from my rant. Um, I can't believe I almost ranted for an hour. As usual, my channel is minimal on the subs, so I would appreciate if you guys do sub in. There is no monetization on my channel because, yeah, I don't have 1,000 subs, so it's totally free to watch my videos. And if YouTube drops ads, fuck YouTube, because they shouldn't be, because I'm not making any money, and so they should not either. Um, but yeah. Things are bad, guys. Things are really bad. Let's just stay strong, stay brave, and brave the storm and hope that it comes to pass. And until then, I'm just gonna rewatch all of the classics because I hate to sound like my own dad who tells me that the movies before were good. But to be fair, my dad enjoyed a lot of the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans, even Batman films. Even Batman Forever, he enjoyed it. Batman and Robin, Mission Impossible 1, 3, 2, maybe even. All the James Bonds. He still likes James Bond films. And I think it's a good representation of how some films are still good, even though they're new, and how some films just stood the test of time, and how a lot of the new films are just not as good. Um, but yeah, there's that. Now it is all about woke agenda. Oh, and this. Oh wait, not this one. Where's the shit show that recently started? This Snow White shit show, right? Do we even want to talk about this? Do we even want to talk about this shit show here? Oh my god. You know who's the best girl right now? Jenna Ortega is turning out to be even more of a best girl. Here's the best girl of the year, I think. Wait, Wednesday was last year, right? It's 2022. Alright, fine. You win 2022, Wednesday Adams. Jenna Ortega did a great job. She had so much fun. I think it was just fun in general. I just was very disappointed with the ending of Wednesday, but I think the rest of the show was pretty good because I think she had um some chance to really focus on what the character is about and to tell her own story as well a little bit, and to make her more relatable, make certain moments a bit more realistic. But I think it sort of fell apart towards the end because the whole school pretended like they were all really powerful and they all have abilities, and the last episode was whatever. What is Kern and Shipka doing here? I actually want to curious about this. Is this a new film? Total Killer? Travels back in time. Sci-fi. I don't mind this. October 6th. Okay. A horror sci-fi with Kern and Shipka. Yes, please. Send it in. Send it. Oh, I know this one. I know this one. Right. Oh my God, this one. This one ruined two shows, right? She ruined Star Wars and Indiana Jones and the Dial of what the fuck this was. Oh my God, I've not cursed this much ever in any of my videos. This is bad. I gotta go. See you guys. Take care.